I think that whatever longevity that I've had has been a result of me just getting in the trenches and digging and staying true to myself.
True. Hi, Kim Cole.
Hello, Danielle. How art thou?
I'm so glad to be here with you, Queen.
I'm delighted. You know, you've got what I would call the scary spice buns.
Yes, my little space buns. I'm getting.
I love it. I love it.
And
It makes
little
me happy. Remember, to me, Scary Spice is the first one to do that, and that was her. All this, and all this. I love it.
She made it cool before anybody else did.
I love it.
So I'm glad you see what I'm going for with my little Scary Spice buns.
All that fire and energy and love and light. Yes, ma'am.
See, that's what I'm going for, because I know that's what you have to give. I also got you right here.
But I was very young and very thin.
Listen,
weren't we all younger and thinner?
Weren't we all younger and thinner literally 5 minutes ago? So, but I'm glad to have you here. I usually ask everybody that comes on real quick, who are you and what's one thing you love most about who you are in this world?
My name is Kim Coles, and one of the things I love most about myself in this world is I see other people's yumminess underneath all the things. I can go, there's some yummy up in there. Some people you have to dig a little further than others, but I'm almost always looking at your light. Almost always.
I love that you see people's yumminess.
Yeah. Well, there's yummy and there's yucky in this world, right? There's yucky and there's yummy.
Very
But
much.
everyone has, like I said, some people, it's a little bit more covered up in others. But, you know, the yummy sometimes is, you know, mired by insecurities or their own pain or their own ego or their own stuff. So sometimes that yummy stuff is a little bit of insecurity, and that's okay too. That's your vulnerability. I'm able to see people's light. I go looking for it, because that's sometimes the only way I can relate to you. It's like, there's gotta be some light and some joy and something wonderful up in there.
Well, what do you use to find that kind of thing? Because sometimes it's hard to get to the yucky.
A belief that it's there. I have a belief. It's just a belief. Now, who knows if it's the truth or not?
Right.
But I choose to believe that everyone has a yummy core. And some people it's, you know, more present. You know, it's someone like you lead with that.
Yeah.
Other folks don't. But I go looking for it, because that's what I relate to. That piece that is light-filled, full of possibility, full of opportunity, you know, basically what Synclaire would want from the world, like light and joy and possibilities. And so I look for that, because that's what I want to relate to as much as I can.
Amen. As a possibility thinker myself, I love that, because it does, like, I was just literally talking to Keisha Knight Pulliam today, and she was talking about that and being an idea thinker and a possibility thinker. And I want to know, like, how did you get to that point? Because when you Black and a woman, that's not usually a space that we're able to dwell in, especially at a young age growing up. So how did you get to a possibility thinking space?
My parents, that's who they are. My mother is, I like to say that I'm the perfect, and I hope I don't start to cry, I am actually the perfect combination of my parents. My mother is super funny, super loving. She never meets a stranger, and she's, how are you today? Good evening, afternoon. Like, she makes friends in line at Walmart. Like, she's just, she sees the best in people. And so I'm sure I was taught that, or I know I was taught it, but I'm sure I picked it up. And my father, who's now passed away, is very charming in that way also. Never meets a stranger. Always, he sees you even if others won't see you. So I was taught to treat everyone the same. So the bus driver, the waitress, the king of Siam, like, everybody is worthy of seeing that they are important. And so when we would go to events or something, my father would be seen on the side talking to the waiter, like the person that no one would talk to.
My mom hugs waitresses. So
yes, and ask them questions. How are you today? And see them because they're there doing their job. And, you know, if I'm at an event, and we're not at events now, but I will ask questions and, hey, what's your name? And how are you today? Because people are ignoring them. And so I think I got that from my parents. And so that's all I see. That's the light I see the world through. So we could talk about the industry. We could talk about the world. We could talk about what's unfair. We could talk about the opportunities lost. We could talk about all that. And that's true. But it's more true for me that there are opportunities. You know, there are possibilities, that there is a way through. You know, I just choose to look at that way, because the other side, I can't live in that space.
Yeah.
And it's not your fault if you were taught that way. If you've been indoctrinated to believe that nothing will ever happen for you, there's no, you know, you're a victim, you always will be a victim, then woe is all of us. The other just feels more like where I want to be, and where I try to resonate that way so that other people can see that that's possible.
Right.
And by the way, I'm not saying that life is always perfect. I'm not saying it's not always, you know.
No, it is not. It is definitely a mess at all times, but there are ways of looking at the things that you go through and not having to take that negative route or the sad route, or, you know what I mean? Or allowing yourself to be in the valley for a second.
Right. I allow myself a second. Sometimes I allow myself a minute or two. I was just doing another interview, and I was like, sometimes I just throw myself across the bed, like all dramatic, like, ugh. I go, all right, time to blow my nose and get it together. Because the longer you stay there, the longer you will stay there. And there's too many examples of excellence, too many examples of possibility for me to focus on.
Right.
That I can't stay there for long.
Don't unpack.
I'm not. Oh, yeah, right.
Don't unpack in there. That's
I'll take an overnight bag, but I'm not going to take all my suitcases and boxes and whatnot. That's
no. Gather your things and get out of there.
Right.
No, but I do understand that, and I know those couple of moments that you allow yourself to just let it be is always necessary. We're definitely going to be talking about your new show In the Cut on BounceTV, but like, you have had a career in Hollywood as a Black woman, and you also have always been a woman of a certain size, which has always made me endear towards you and Queen Latifah, particularly on that show. And it's so awesome to see that you're constantly moving in your gifts. So can we talk about the longevity that you have been able to see in your career?
Right. Well, thank you so much for noticing, because there are times when you're like, am I doing it right? Am I still in this game, or what's going on? You know, I'm one of those people. So I talked about Erica having a big vision. She's a big vision holder. I have some of that, but mostly I'm a worker. I get in my trench and I just dig and I dig, and I look up and go, am I going the right way? I think I am. And I get back in, I dig and I dig. And I think that whatever longevity that I have had has been a result of me just getting in the trenches and digging and staying true to myself. Really? So saying yes to the things I thought were the right things to say yes to, saying no to the things that sometimes people would go like, you don't want to go do that. Like, nah, I'm good. Something else will come along. So I let my yeses be yeses and my noes be noes. And I also figured out that whatever it is I'm doing will probably not last for forever. And so I love to tease Erica about this. And what we had in common also is she used to tease, they'll go, Erica, so let's say we practice a scene, we rehearsed a scene, and she would be on her way back to her trailer. I said, where you going? Going back to my trailer to create my comeback piece. And so it was having that energy, knowing that eventually this won't last. And not that she thought she needed to come back from anything, but to create other opportunities. So we have always had other things that we had going on at the same time. Everyone in that cast were actually entrepreneurs. We were very clear that what we were creating was something that was strong and amazing. And I don't think I got that before I got to that show. So, you know, that was my, you know, like Living Color was my first, you know, big gig other than Showtime at the Apollo. I would say Living Single is where the possibility of longevity became something to even think about. It's like, what else can I do? I'm a stand-up comedian. Great. I
Right.
can write. I'm going to write books. Great. I'm a speaker now. Great. I'm going to speak. I'm a coach now. I coach other people. And so the longevity is what I like to call staying, and this, by the way, is for everyone. Anyone can do this. It's staying real, relevant, and ready, and
Mm-hmm.
being very aware of what your gifts and talents are so that you can use them in different ways at different times. And by the way, this pandemic, this civil unrest, this time that we're in is the perfect time to do something I call pivot on purpose. So you
That's
pivot,
it.
you go like, I can't do the things that I used to do. At least now I can't. What other gifts and talents do I have inside of me that I can still be on purpose, still be living in within my gifts? And so I
Right.
think that's what adds to longevity, is always showing up real, relevant, and ready, being very clear on who you are, what you will and won't do, and finding ways to be scrappy. Figure it out. Like, you don't want me to do that? Okay, I'm gonna go over here and do that. That's
Right.
maybe that's the key of life. Or somebody, the Blairisms, like pivot on purpose. That's
Pivot
right.
on purpose. That is, and that's who's the creator of this shirt with the cast of the living single as
Oh, thank you. Oh,
the
what was I?
Savages.
I'm classy. So Erica Savage. I know who Bougie is.
And then they made Khadijah Ratchet.
Ratchet.
It was either gonna, I feel like how it was either gonna be Synclaire as Ratchet or Classy. So I felt your character makes more sense for Classy.
I think we were all of those things.
All of those things, because
Yes,
I can
ma'am.
definitely see Synclaire's savagery was subtle.
Well, you know, her naivete and her seeing the world through rose-colored glasses was actually her superpower.
Mm-hmm.
Her superpower, her belief in that everything would be just fine. Is some would consider that savage. Like, what? You're not angry? I don't have time. I'm too busy living my life to be angry all the time. And if I'm going to be angry about something, I'm going to get in action about it. And
Right.
that's what the right kind of savage you need to be.
Right. And you know what I love? I don't know if this was what you did with Synclaire or just like a natural progression of a character being around for so many seasons. But it started, you started out as this airhead of a character, but she slowly, like, she kept the airheadedness, but she would slowly get so much more soulful, so much more, like, a little bit like the wise, oracle of
Right. Or out
and
of the mouths of babes kind of thing. Well, what isn't that life?
and she
Don't
was
we
so
all?
loved, like the way
Yeah.
that Overton loved her.
Do you know how important, I know you know this, but I want you to know that we understood how important it was to see young Black love in that way.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember reading an article at one time saying that if Synclaire and Overton in particular could be nominated for Emmys, it would be amazing, because we haven't seen that kind of experience yet. And that it was sweet and it was loving and it was innocent and it was pure in that way. And it was enduring. And I think it was really important. I think in general, every one of the characters on the show did evolve, and because that's life, you must evolve. And but really there were subtleties in all of us, and subtleties in the relationships of all of us, which I love.
Yeah, I mean, everybody knows it was one of the most well done
Thank
sitcoms
you.
around friendship, and not even just Black friendship, just friendship, and seeing like young Black people come through a city and just like, live it up and love on each other.
Indeed, we need that,
always,
right?
Yeah, and then obviously y'all got the breath of fresh air because y'all came back through Hulu.
Yes.
And people started reliving. And how do you think that just stands the test of time?
I think it lasts because the messages are still there. And I saw somebody say, there is no difference between Black hearts and white hearts in the big how do I want to say it? In the big picture.
The large big picture, yeah.
The large big picture. However, we hadn't seen this with young Black people. These were 20-somethings. We were all growing and figuring ourselves out. And so you hadn't seen that before. And so that's why it was rare and beautiful. And I think that's why it's lasted. The themes last. So maybe the 80s, the 90s fashion won't last. But, you know, that's it always comes back, right? I think the enduring themes exist.
Right.
Of friendship and strength and sisterhood and brotherhood and love and striving for something better and integrity and courageousness. Those themes never die. And
right.
I think that it's being introduced to younger and younger generations by their parents. I have met 3 Synclaires at various ages, and obviously their mother named them after that character. I've met regimes. I've met attorneys who said, I'm an attorney because of Maxine Shaw, attorney at law. Yes. And so the effect lingers. And so I'm glad, because I still get those residual checks, Danielle. Okay.
Because you deserve. You put in the work. Okay?
So keep watching, folks. Keep watching.
Keep watching, y'all. And obviously, before we go into In the Cut a little bit, I do want to ask you, because I know that Woo Woo Woo, and we talked about it a little bit, became Synclaire. It was a Synclaireism that just has shaped culture for living single too. It's like become one of those things. So I'm curious, because you did tell a story one time on an interview about that coming from your mother, because that would be something that she would do to comfort you and your brother.
That's exactly it.
Yeah, and so you like immortalized your mama.
I did.
Trying something. So can you tell us about a time on set as Synclaire that still makes you smile when you think back on it today?
I have 1,000 of them. Some that will make me laugh, some that will make me cry. Okay, I'll tell you one of my very favorite moments, and I've told this one before. So Kim Fields was doing a play. It was a little bit a ways from LA. I think we had just shot the pilot. I think it was very early. It was. Yeah, I think we were just shooting the pilot. So she's in a play. It's away from LA. She rents an RV and says, "Come down and see me in the play." So we all load up in the RV while she's, there, and we're, riding and getting to know each other. And there's a point where Erica and TC, who played Kyle, ask each other, because we're asking each other, so when's your birthday? When's your birthday? And we found out that Erica and TC have the same birthday. Now, by this time, we knew that they were going to probably put Max and Kyle together. I mean, that's the trajectory of these characters. When you start out as adversaries, often they're going to put you together. So the moment where we go, they have the same birthday. And then we found out that John Hinton's birthday was a week later. And what's cool about that is we celebrated their birthdays together. So the 3 of them would decide what they wanted us to do for their birthday. So one time it was a trip to Atlanta. Another time it was a trip to Vegas. Another time it was, let's go salsa dancing. So we celebrated everything as a family. And those are my favorite moments. And there's, things that we know about each other. We went through, life and ups and downs and victories. And so there's family that's there. So every moment of it was, and is a treasure to me.
Oh, thank you for sharing that. Yay. That's so sweet. And we love that y'all love each other so deep, and that everybody still look good. And
right? We look good. Like we're doing all right.
No, not for that. Because when I prepare for interviews, I always do my research and things like that. Even people that I've known and loved my whole life, just to get little things here and there. And I saw your age and I was like,
58. 58 and 7 quarters.
When, Kim Cole?
58 and 7 quarters. That's not possible. I'll be 59 in January. Yes. And no work yet. Now, one day I will tuck it, suck it, and pluck it all up.
I'm just saying, I know we don't crack. I am part of us. But y'all look good. And Erica, I was like, okay. So
she looks amazing.
Table, it has to be, because everybody's skin is tight, looking good.
Yes, good. It's good skin. It's a good skin bunch. You take care of yourself, and when you have love on the inside out, I think that's what you're really seeing. So even if when things begin to fall, you'll still be able to see the light coming out of someone's eyes, and I think that's what keeps you young and vibrant.
Now you look like you've lived nothing but healthy.
Oh, just tea, a lovely herbal
girl,
tea.
you look amazing. So
Like,
is there a reboot on the table?
you know, people have been talking about it, but there's nothing on the table. I love what I always say is I've been neither contacted nor contracted.
Right.
So I think people want it. I said, when I'm signing the contract, then I'll let y'all know. I think there's talk about it out in the ether, but nothing is set in stone.
Nothing
Just
yet.
nothing yet. But I will
be watching.
Yes.
Because we need, what was it? Synclaire?
You remember?
Yes, I remember.
Cloverton and Overclaire.
Overclaire.
Those would be those were the names of the potential twins if Synclaire and Overton had children. Syncloverton and Overclaire. I love you for knowing that. Not everybody knows that. I thank you.
Yeah.
I thank you.
You listen, I'm telling you, living single is in my veins.
Yay! Yay! Thank you. Sis.
I love that. Oh, so it would have to be a Syncloverton and an Overclaire like story, and then y'all be making your appearances and things.
Well, they're grown now. Maybe that's the show. Maybe they're grown, and we come in and do little guest spots.
And then they could be reminiscent of you and
absolutely,
characters.
Absolutely.
That's cute.
Anything can happen.
Listen, hey, Flavor Unit, just holler at me. So now we have you sincerely still on the screen, giving us yourself.
Yeah.
You're in the cut, which is also another little on BounceTV, and it gives us a little bit of nostalgia in some of the folks that are showing up on that show. Can you talk about it?
Well, here's Bentley Evans, who we all came to know as the executive producer of Ma Ann, right?
Yeah.
And who has now built his own empire and work. And so the cool thing about this show is, I didn't have to audition. That's we talked about longevity. That means that I've put in enough time that someone like Bentley could go, Kim Cole, just come on and come play with us.
Yeah.
And he did. And you get to the set and he's like, all right, these are the lines on the script, but do you? I'm like, right, just be Kim. I'm like, oh, okay. And so I got a chance to be part of the 7th season of In the Cut. The other thing is that the whole thing was shot in December and January. So here we are in the middle of COVID, the pandemic. So it's done and in the can. And so now I get to promote and be a part of sharing, all the goodness. So we're talking, Kalita Smith and Dorian Wilson and Ken, whose last name I can't think of right now, and the other Dorian, and people who've been around for a lot of and people. Mark Curry.
Mark Curry.
To get a chance to play with him is so much fun because you gotta stay light on your feet with Mark because he could throw you anything.
Y'all are good though. Y'all would be good to watch going back and forth.
And you'll see, and you will see. So it was a delight to do a character like I've never done before. She's a little ballsy and a little bit more broad humor and a little tougher. And I get to wear a waitress uniform the entire time. In fact, I don't even think I had any other wardrobe, maybe one other. And that was a whole lot of fun. So it was a great experience. And again, with, it was really nice to work with Black folks who are making quality programming for other Black folks. That doesn't happen everywhere.
Shout out to Bentley Evans because
indeed,
that's just such a huge part of what we know on TV for so long. So to see, that work come through with y'all for this In the Cut, I'm like, okay, we got a lot of classic folks. We got some newbies. It's a lot of fun. So what made you say though to this one? Because you have discernment when it comes to projects. Right.
Well, I know the people. We know the quality of the people doing the project. I knew, I had done my own comedy special at BounceTV, so I know the quality of what they do over there. And so it was an easy yes. It was like, come do some episodes and you don't have to audition for it and you're going to have a lot of fun. Who's going to say no to that? With this set of people, who'd say no to that? So it's very nice.
This is it. This is it. Well, okay, before you leave me, Kim Coles, I see you posted your bae on your Instagram, so I figured I would ask you some questions about love because I know that you have been through in and out of finding it. So now that you are in it again, what do you feel like is different?
I'm different. I drew a line in the sand about the quality of man that I wanted to be with, should be with, deserve to be with. And the minute I drew that line, he appeared. And, you know, a lot of us complain about.
Give me a pen and find.
Yeah, write this down. Write this down. Actually, you don't have anything. You already have it. It's just being so sure of yourself and so sure of what you deserve that you can only resonate and bring in someone like that. And so what's cool about this brother is that we started working together. He's a brand specialist. He's helping to build the Kim Coles brand. So aside from being an actress and a comedian and a speaker, I'm also a coach. I coach entrepreneurs on the power of storytelling. So he began helping me get those programs even more solidified. And in that process, the love blossomed. And it was like, oh my goodness, this is everything. And so it's really being clear about, remember I said being clear about your yeses and nos, being clear about your yeses and nos in all areas of your life will only bring you the best yeses possible. It's up to you. And he is a yes.
Ooh, she is in love, y'all. I just can't even look at it. It's so pretty. I love it. I love that. So now you're all in love as a grown woman. Would you marry again?
I would. Yes, I would. I would.
Yeah, you see, Niecy popped up and gave us fresh new wife.
Fresh new life and fresh new wife. It was like, oh well. So yes, so it's her third time. This would be my third time. Most people don't know about there was a husband number one. I released husband number two about a year or so ago, and so of course I would again. I would absolutely do it again.
Oh, I commend y'all. I'm so afraid of commitment.
Really? Why?
Yeah, like I'm in love with love, and I've been in it. And it's a cute time and I have a great time in it, but I just freak out when it comes to feeling like this is where I'm going to be forever. I don't know. It freaks me out.
Well, but here's what I think is working. Here's what I think could help that is that this is where I'm going to be for forever. And what you do is you make a commitment to grow separately and to grow together. And so I could tell that you're the kind of person that you're committed to yourself, right? You're committed to being the best version of you possibly. So what you do is you hook up with someone who is also committed to that. And then that's the commitment that you make to come together and go, well, I'm going to grow and be the best version of me. Well, I'm going to grow and be the best version of me. Well, let's do it together. Okay. And then you have someone to go through the process with, because I think it's good if you have that. I mean, not to say if you're single, be single and enjoy it, but the commitment is really to yourself and to the growth of you and to be willing to witness each other in it.
See, that's real. And I'm like, yes, I hear that. I want that. But then, Kim, because I feel like you've been successful for a very large portion of your life. So you have dealt with people being intimidated by that in your presence around, romantic relationships. Yes, and I feel like you've also probably dealt with, unfortunately, the evil side of that, where they see it and they try to tear it down.
Yes, right? I have. Yes, I have. Yes, ma'am, I have.
I feel like it happens to so many powerful women that I know. And you're just like, how is this even possible? Why do people even think like that or move like that? So I'm just like,
well, I would say this. So you have to resonate with someone who is not intimidated, but instead would support that. Who would say, I want you to fly as far as you can. I will be here. Maybe you fly and this time I'll stay on the ground, and you fly this time I stay on the ground. It's just all about finding someone, because I think the people who would be intimidated by you would be intimidated by you. They're not your people anyway. It's about finding someone who would say, I just want to see you shine. My favorite thing that my mother would call him, my gentleman caller, has said to me, she goes, oh, Kim, no, she does. Old school, you have a gentleman caller. My favorite thing he says to me is, I love it when you're happy. Like, wait a minute, you like it when I'm happy? He says, yeah, be happy, be successful, do well, go out there and shine, because that makes me happy. That's the brother that you need. That's the love that you need. That's the one that you need, whatever form that he or she shows up in. And if, you know, that's why we're happy for Niecy this time. She said, we found it. We don't care what the package looks like. Is she really happy this time? Go ahead, girlfriend.
Right.
And so that's what matters. And so I think when you resonate with that, the more you resonate with that, there will be someone who shows up and says, I just want Danielle to be the star. Like, keep being the star, girl. And what can I do to support that? And that's the one for you.
Well, Jesus, do you hear Kim Coles is what she's saying?
That's so possible for you. I know.
Yes, I touch and agree on that. I believe that. Thank you for even sharing that. We talked about your longevity, and such a blessing to see you come from the modest days through living color, through living single, on the way through, and now, you know, still acting and still doing and being all these other things. So Hollywood has not ever been it for you. Obviously, it's not the thing. So whether or not Black women are accepted or whatever, that's not your conversation. What is Kim Coles's conversation when it comes to being this celebrated figure in the place that you are?
I think that in the end, so I could complain about what didn't work. I could, but we've already established that I don't have time for that.
Right.
I think to be authentically you, be authentically yourself. And these are words that people say, but I really mean just show up authentically as yourself and do the inner work that it takes to make sure that light stays on always, so I do my spiritual work. I've got, my version of, spiritual work, or whatever that is for you, and stay present to that. And that is what I can rest my hat on. So whether or not I get an audition for something, or whether or not I get hired for something, it's great. My gift is love and laughter, and I can go and do that anywhere. My gifts are actually love and laughter. And the first question you asked me is what do I love most about me? So love and laughter, and that I can see gifts in other people. I can go do that anywhere. And so I love Hollywood. I'm grateful to be a part of it, but I'm not relying on it to give me anything. A gig every once in a while, yes, but not to give me my confidence, not to give me my persona. I show up and do this, whatever I be doing. And that's why I was able to take those gifts and take them over here. Like, y'all call me when you're ready for me. I'm going to be over here doing my thing over here. No, you can call me again, but I'm going to be right here doing what I do.
Exactly.
That gives me confidence and strength. And I want everyone to hear that's for them, whether you're a performer or not, to be very clear about who you are, what your gifts are, and that you can take them and do whatever you want with them. Anything is possible.
Look at you, coach. I feel like I'm ready for the game.
That's right. You are, sis. You are.
Yes. Love you so much. What a pleasure it was to meet you and chat with you today.
The same with you, with your scary spice. I want to take my hair down and do mine too. I'm gonna do my little thing.
Yes, do your space buns.
My space, is that what they call space buns? I want to do my space buns. That's what my friend
called them before, space buns. But I like scary spice buns.
I love it all. Thank you so much. Thank you for the bright, shiny light that you are in the world, and continue to do so. Real with that.